science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. You can watch KPBS Live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from KPBS. Get the PBS Video app now and stream the best of PBS. Anytime, anywhere.
On the border of China, this rare type of gibbon is on the brink of extinction. Now, a pop star and a professor have an unprecedented plan. Using cell phone technology like a dating app. See if these high-tech matchmakers can change the future of a species. On A Song of Love, an 8 with an app.
Tonight at 8 on KPBS. You're watching KPBS. Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, October 6th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. School shootings all but disappeared with the pandemic, but sadly tonight there is more than one reminder that they are still part of life in the U.S. Near Dallas, Texas, police arrested a student suspected of opening fire during a fight at his high school. 4 people were injured, including one in critical condition. Here in San Diego, an elementary school went on lockdown because of an active shooter threat in City Heights. KPBS education reporter MG Perez has more on that and local efforts to keep our schools safe.
Parents waited anxiously outside as Rosa Parks Elementary School went into lockdown this morning. There was no active shooter inside, but according to San Diego police, someone was shot just a few blocks away. Corema Campuzano had 2 of her children in the school.
Everybody was inside. There was nobody outside the school, and I just waited till the teacher said that it was clear, and then I showed up to the front door.
What's your biggest fear?
That somebody would, it would happen outside, and I'm scared that somebody would want to be crazy and go to the school with a gun.
That did not happen, but shootings in schools were a nationwide problem even before the COVID shutdown. COVID is the latest threat on campus for parents to deal with, but an active shooter or other threat of violence is just as real. Before the pandemic, San Diego County officials were already at work on a new safety plan. The San Diego County Grand Jury, seated in 2018, conducted a review of school preparedness in cases of active shooters. In 2019, this report was released with several recommendations, including proposals to increase funding in school budgets for training, equipment, and infrastructure improvements to handle an active shooter crisis for staff and student safety, conduct active shooter drills with staff that produce immediacy of response, according to the school's approved safety plan, and includes substitute teachers and all other adult workers in training and practice that's provided to regular staff on active shooter awareness and response. The report highlighted a pilot program at Torrey Pines High School, which installed a specialized camera security system. The San Diego Union High School District has since installed the system on all its 9 other campuses. Many of the other 42 districts and charter and private schools across the county have followed suit with infrastructure improvements and safety drills. Tim Ware is the school safety coordinator for the San Diego County Office of Education, leading the efforts.
Right now, we have about half of our districts have sent teams to our training to address this issue as it relates to not only the school shooting piece, but also what we call the concerning behaviors that lead up to a situation like that happening.
Corema Campuzano is relieved that did not happen today, and she's grateful to go home with her children, safe and sound. MG Perez, KPBS News.
Protecting school workers is an issue local districts are seeking answers to after repeated problems at campuses, especially during board meetings. The problem is nationwide as well. And now the U.S. Attorney General is getting involved, asking the FBI and state attorneys general to investigate violence and threats. Mask mandates and issues like how educators teach subjects like race and sexual equality have sparked the incidents. Attorney General Merrick Garland's memo comes after the National School Boards Association asked the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and Education for help. 10 local districts have raised concerns with Poway and Vista having meetings canceled due to outbursts.
This harassment, this verbal abuse, following board members and staff members, it's essentially preventing school boards from doing the work of the public on behalf of our students and children. It really needs to stop. We have a lot of important work that we have to do, budgets, curriculum. We need to get on with the business of the school district.
In a letter, the California School Boards Association is calling on Governor Newsom and the state's Attorney General to urge law enforcement across the state to help maintain order at school board meetings when requested and enforce the law. Frontline healthcare doctors are calling for better pay and working conditions. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman says resident physicians at UC San Diego Health have been without a contract since July.
At UC San Diego Health's La Jolla Medical Campus, resident physicians are protesting what they say is the hospital system's refusal to negotiate a fair contract.
We're not asking for kindness. We're not asking for favors or special treatment. All we're asking for is to be treated with the basic respect and dignity we deserve as employees of this hospital.
These resident physicians say they've been on the front lines of the pandemic taking care of patients. Now they're asking UC San Diego Health to do the same for them.
I'm personally aware of residents who cannot afford to buy hospital cafeteria food, and another who is potentially facing eviction because they can't afford to pay rent.
Dr. Sean Lee is in the 6th year of his residency. He says many of his colleagues are working 80 to 100 hours a week and, among other issues, do not have adequate meal stipends.
You're here for up to 28 hours on one shift, so it's, impossible to really not eat at the hospital. So we're asking, for a fair stipend for meals so that we can, sustain ourselves during these long shifts.
Dr. Christine Zajac is in her 3rd year of residency at UC San Diego Health.
I think it often comes as a surprise to people when I explain how much I work and how little sleep I get.
She says the university is not giving them support to take care of themselves.
During this year, my partner lost his job due to COVID, and and I got in a car accident. It's just things add up, and then your debt is always there and always present in your mind. So I know it's definitely been a personal struggle for me.
UC San Diego Health officials said in a statement they prioritize the safety and well-being of all of their team members, adding they are in the process of contract negotiations where they have offered pay increases along with larger housing, meal, and education stipends.
Patient! Physician!
Resident physicians say the two sides are still far apart, but are hoping to come to an agreement soon. Both sides are back at the bargaining table on Thursday. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Los Angeles will soon have one of the strictest vaccine mandates in the country. The LA City Council approved the ordinance today. It requires shots for everyone entering bars, restaurants, nail salons, gyms, sports arenas, and shopping malls. Proof of full vaccination will be required starting on November 4th. Los Angeles County approved a less sweeping mandate, which only applies to bars, breweries, and nightclubs. Concerns that oil from the spill off of Huntington Beach could make it down to San Diego County beaches are easing. KPBS reporter John Carroll talked to some commercial fishermen today about just how fortunate we are that the oil will likely stay north of the county.
It's just another Wednesday at America's Cup Harbor in Point Loma, and the president of H&M Landing, Frank Ursitti, just finished a very reassuring phone call with the Marine Region Manager for the State Department of Fish and Wildlife.
It looks like things are going well, actually, in terms of containment, preemptive containment in place as well. Right now, the spill has migrated down towards where it's just north of Oceanside. But again, with favorable conditions, with lighter wind conditions, I think we're positioned pretty well to keep things from spreading further to the south here in San Diego.
And that, to put it mildly, came as very welcome news. Because Franker City says if that oil did get down here, it would be immediately devastating to boat owners and their crews.
It would absolutely impact those trips that are fishing near coastal, so we would see an immediate cessation of those trips.
Today is the beginning of lobster fishing season, so for catchers of crustaceans to the north, the oil spill is devastating, but not to the lobster. The problem is no boats are allowed in or out of the harbor for the time being. But it appears one person's devastation is another's inconvenience. Fred Huber co-owns 3 fishing boats that take people out to sea for half or full day trips. He says even if they were shut down right now, it wouldn't be all that bad because they're past what for them is the peak of fishing season.
We would manage. It would be a disappointment, but it would not be the end of the world for us.
Of course, it's not just those in the fishing business who rely on visitors to the coast. Scores of restaurants, hotels, and a multitude of other businesses from Dana Point to Huntington Beach are feeling the pinch right now. Fortunately, it appears businesses here won't suffer the same fate. John Carroll, KPBS News.
San Ysidro community advocates are celebrating California Clean Air Day by pointing to a long-running pollution problem in their neighborhood. Here's KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson.
A newly painted mural on a Casa Familiar building imagines what could have been. South Bay artist Amanda Cachadorian painted species native to the Tijuana River Valley, imagining a region without pollution. But pollution does exist here.
San Ysidro continuously reports high levels of PM 2.5 and black carbon, more than any other community in San Diego, and is within the top 5 percentile within the whole state of California.
The culprit is vehicle traffic across one of the world's busiest land border crossings. In fact, the community is hemmed in by freeways.
San Ysidro is actually surrounded by those freeways. It's the 805 freeway, it's on the right, the 5 is on the left, and on top is the 905, which is a highway that's used for as a truck route.
This is a public health issue.
Lisa Cuestas is the president and CEO of Casa Familiar. She says air monitoring has linked local pollution to traffic at the border crossing and in neighboring Mexico.
There's significant wait times on both sides of the border, up to 4 or 5 hours, and on a Sunday could be up to 6 hours sometimes.
Cuestas says reducing those border wait times would help improve air quality and business in a region that thrives on robust cross-border traffic. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
All organic food waste will soon have to be recycled across California. Coming up on Evening Edition, we take a look at new local composting facility that will play a crucial part in reaching that goal. With a debt disaster looming, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell has given Democrats a new offer to extend the federal ceiling. The Senate has gone into recess so lawmakers can discuss the proposal delaying a procedural vote on a House-passed bill to suspend the debt cap. Meanwhile, President Biden is enlisting top business leaders to help pressure lawmakers to get a deal done.
The effects would be cascading, so day one would be bad, but the cascading effects in the ensuing weeks could go anywhere from a recession to a complete catastrophe for the global economy, and I don't know why anyone would take a chance like that.
The debt ceiling deadline is October 18th. Those who could be affected first, our Social Security and Medicare recipients and military paychecks. In an effort to protect some local renters, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria is setting aside $5 million in legal defense funds. The City Council approved the move, which will help struggling tenants facing possible eviction due to non-payment get legal help. The program will use federal CARES Act money provided during the pandemic and will be issued by the Housing Commission and is open to undocumented residents. The federal student loan forgiveness program is getting a major overhaul. The program forgives student loan debt for people in certain government and nonprofit jobs after they have made monthly payments for 10 years. Now borrowers will be offered a time-limited waiver, allowing prior payments to count toward their loan. Active duty will also count toward the program for military service members. The Department of Education says it plans to review denied applications and the entire process. Supermarkets across the country are low on many grocery items, but not only that, but prices are at record highs, and those prices are expected to rise for more than a year. Christine Lazar explains.
This woman says her grocery bill has been slowly climbing over the past few weeks. The prices are just so high. She's not alone.
Everything just seems to be $1 to $2 higher. It just is all, this creep has just happened, and it's very expensive.
Prices are going up high.
What have you noticed a price increase? Like what goods?
Everything.
According to new figures released by the Labor Department, wholesale inflation jumped more than 8% from August of 2020 compared to August of this year. That's the biggest gain on record since the department started tracking it more than a decade ago.
We haven't seen anything yet. Prices are going to continue to go up for a good year and a half.
Phil Lembert is the editor of supermarketguru.com and a food industry analyst.
The biggest increases that we're going to see has to do with anything with animals, whether it's eggs or milk or pork or beef.
Fires up north have decimated their feed. Supply chain issues like these bottlenecks at the Port of Los Angeles and labor shortages are also to blame.
We have a huge problem with the lack of truck drivers. Refrigerated transport is up about 10.4% in cost.
As prices increase, supplies have decreased.
We're just having a hard time finding the types of things that we want.
At the grocery stores we went to, we saw a limited supply of things like milk and butter, soda and snacks, also paper products and baking supplies.
Retailers who are filling out their orders to fill their shelves are not getting what they ordered. It's estimated to be anywhere between 50 and 70% of what they order.
The Padres lost a lot of games down the stretch. Now they've lost their manager. The team has decided to fire manager Jace Tinkler. He had 1 year remaining on a 3-year contract and was reportedly offered another position in the organization. Padres officials credited Tinkler for getting the team to the playoffs during the tough pandemic year. Now the decision who will replace him. Rumors have circulated that former Padres manager Bruce Bochy might be a top candidate. It was another cloudy, cool day across San Diego County, and it looks like we could be in for some rain. Meteorologist Jessica Pash has your forecast.
Strong onshore flow continues for coastal areas, leading to some cloudy afternoons. Not anticipating a lot in the way of clearing, especially with the low-hanging cloud cover and the fog. But our next rainmaker will arrive on Friday, bring the possibility of some more rain showers, mainly for coastal areas, more towards the mountains and the deserts. I don't quite think the rain is going to make it all the way in there. And then we're also tracking some changes as we head into next week in the form of much cooler weather to move on in. Temperatures tonight falling back down into the upper 50s for you in Escondido, low 60s in El Cajon, Chula Vista getting down to 65, 50s for you in Mount Laguna. Then tomorrow afternoon, again, you can see plenty of cloud cover here from El Cajon out towards San Diego into Chula Vista. Temperatures are going to be in the low 70s for highs there. And then here comes our next storm system on Friday. Pacific moisture certainly getting dragged on in here. Rain not only for Southern California, but for much of Central California, out towards Nevada and into Utah too. So beneficial moisture is going to be arriving here. And then the big changes arrive as we head into Sunday and Monday. A large dip in the jet stream here. Another powerful storm system begins to move on in, and temperatures are going to be falling off here. It's a question of how far south that colder air does get, but I do see some changes in the forecast here towards the early part of the next work week. So near the coast, again, I mentioned that possibility of a few rain showers on Friday. Sunshine returns for the weekend. Temperatures rebound Sunday and then begin to drop off a little bit as we head into Monday. We're looking at a cool day for you further inland. Also, temperatures in the mid-60s on Friday, rebounding to 80 by Sunday. and then temperatures fall again as we head into Monday back into the 70s. In the mountains, some cloud cover certainly for Thursday. Temperatures chilliest on Friday in the 40s for highs, and then we rebound somewhat throughout the weekend. And in the deserts, temperatures are also going to be a little bit cooler for Friday, only in the 70s for highs, and then after that we rebound back up into the mid-80s. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Jessica Pash.
Now that recycling compost waste will be required after the new year, a new site will be essential in collecting the organic items. Republic Services celebrated the grand opening of its new Otay compost facility, and KPBS reporter Alexandra Rangel has more.
And recycling organic waste into new products is a fast track to combating climate change.
In efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emission created by food scraps at the landfill, California passed SB 1383. The law goes into effect in January for the majority of businesses and residents in California.
Starting on January 1st, 2022, we'll be placing the food waste in that green waste container to come to this facility to be composted.
Chris Sini is the Organics Operations Director at Republic Services. They've been working to open the Otay compost facility for over 3 years.
So it's the first fully solar-powered aerated static pile compost facility in the state of California. We have 43 kilowatts of solar panels, approximately 180 panels right behind us, and it takes the solar power and turns it into DC power.
In partnership with Chula Vista, Sini says they will be in charge of composting the city's organic waste, which is about 120 tons each year.
Chula Vista is going to consume approximately 60% of the capacity at this facility. The state of California acknowledges we need 150 more compost facilities, anaerobic digesters in the state to meet their aggressive goals of SB 1383.
Sini's been working in the organic industry for over 20 years. He says seeing this compost site come to fruition for a better, sustainable future has been one of the most rewarding days of his career.
You know, working with your city, wherever you live, you're doing the right thing. We're putting green waste and food waste into that organics container. It's coming to this facility. We're composting it and converting it into a soil amendment, a compost, or a mulch that then can be used here locally.
Alexandra Rangel, KPBS News.
Google wants to help you limit your carbon footprint when flying. Search results on Google Flights now show carbon emission estimates for itineraries. You can also sort flights based on their carbon impact. The amount of pollution a flight produces depends on the aircraft. Newer planes are typically more efficient. Your seat can also impact emissions because first class and premium economy seats, they take up more space and therefore account for a larger portion of the aircraft's pollution.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, high stakes. Senate Democrats and Republicans work to reach an agreement aimed at avoiding a government shutdown for now. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
The Haunted Hotel has been scaring people for decades and had to close its doors last Halloween because of COVID-19. But the San Diego Haunt is back in person with outdoor horror mazes in Mission Valley. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando looks to the joys of haunting and previews the San Diego Haunt.
So this is the kind of thing I usually do for Halloween. And the reason I do it is for this. Ah, yes, the joyful sound of children leaving my house on Halloween.
It is a happy sound, and you know what? They will remember that. It's a good memory. I remember my first haunted house I ever went to like it was yesterday, and I was so scared, but I got out and got back in line. I wanted to do it again and again and again and again.
I know not everyone understands the joys of terrorizing people on Halloween, but Greg DeFada does.
Once we're open and the doors are open and you start hearing those first screams, you go, yes, it's working. And of course it does, but you still need that kind of reassurance if it is.
He's a kindred spirit.
When they come out, either they are laughing or they're crying or, just super excited. And that is when you know you've done your job and done it well.
But while I'm just a home haunter, he's a professional haunter who spent more than 3 decades scaring people every Halloween season.
We do try to scare you as best and as deeply as we can. We were going for a little scar. We try and scar you just a little bit. But you're never going to get touched or hurt. Sometimes, yes, an actor or a character will get so close that they may bump into you, but nobody's ever going to hurt you. But if you start running, we're going to chase you. We do our best to scare you.
But instead of running the haunted hotel last year, DeFada spent his first Halloween at home in 32 years. The pandemic made the real world scarier than a haunt, and the haunted hotel had to transform its Scream Zone attraction into a drive-through one, which just wasn't the same.
It was a challenge, though. And everybody was masked up. So that was another challenge, trying to scare with a mask and through a car window. It was pretty tough.
But last month, the haunted trail reopened in Balboa Park with a mile-long collection of mazes.
Scream all you want, and good luck making it through alive.
And this past weekend, the Haunted Hotel Disturbance unveiled a new set of mazes that it's been constructing in the parking lot of the Mission Valley Shopping Center.
A lot of people think you start building things the week before you open. No, we actually we built everything 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And then over this last year, we kept building. We built new rooms and things like that. We would add things that we didn't have that we wanted to put in originally.
You are now entering the Haunted Hotel.
What we've done is we took the Haunted Hotel from downtown, which it was there for 27 years. What we've done is brought the whole event here, except we've expanded it. We have our Freak Fest, which is a 3D, you put the glasses on and you walk through. That always I love, just because it's so just disconcerting and it's beautiful too. I mean, these guys are amazing artists. And then the Haunted Hotel is just kind of such a classic. I mean, I grew up with the Haunted Hotel for 30 years. And then we have this Hillbilly Chaos area, which is just, I love the sound inside of it. I know that sounds weird, but it reminds me of my childhood when I was in Louisiana. Yeah, every one of them has a different thing that I enjoy.
All Haunted Hotel attractions are outdoors, with masks optional for fully vaccinated attendees. But be prepared. Hotel residents may not be practicing social distancing. Beth Comando, KPBS News.
That looks like a lot of fun. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley. And by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.